Hi, my name is Lewis Howes, and welcome to the Daily Motivation Show. Today's episode is all about unlocking the power of your mind. Having a growth mindset is one of the most crucial decisions you can make in your life. Mental toughness can allow you to respond instead of react, to be in control instead of out of control, and give you the endurance you need to follow your dreams.
The first time that I really started to be aware that my subconscious was controlling me was when I was in my car, stopped at a red light, and I realized I was going to be late. And then all of a sudden I started berating myself, well, you can't do things right, you're not good
you
enough.
Idiot, you're such an idiot. How do you forget these things?
It was that moment that I said, wait, I'm listening to what these words are. I'm actually stopping. I'm not just saying the words. I'm saying the words, but I'm actually listening. I said, well, how many positive things did I just say? 0. Uh-oh, there's a problem right there. And I started to realize we have to stop and be conscious just long enough to listen to these things. They flow through just continuously. You got to stop and just tune in and say, what am I thinking? Why? Because if you start to realize that most of your thoughts are negative, and this is not good enough, that won't work, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but that's a creative voice you're talking about right there. That voice is creating, and everything you just said is now part of your creation. So what if you stopped? What I did is I just covered up the clock on my car so I didn't have to see how late I was going to be, and I got there on the right time. It's like, why? Because I didn't focus on, all the steps between here and the destination. I just said, I got to get there. Boom, I was there. That's how it worked. Okay, so what can a person do? I think the first time is just for them to wake up long enough to hear, are you giving yourself positive vision of a future, or you already canceled the future with negative things that you can bring up, any number of negative things. It's not going to happen because of X, fill in X. You can put anything in there, it's not going to happen. Until you understand, oh my God, I am not thinking a positive thought in this process. Well, then if I'm not thinking a positive thought, then I don't want those other thoughts to manifest. And that was a wake-up call. When do you want to stop manifesting? I say, when you stop long enough to correct yourself. No, I don't want to think that. No, let me think something positive. Let me assure you something. A while back, I would have been what loosely called manic depressive. I'd be happy most of the time, and then something would go wrong, and then the next thing would go wrong, and I would go in a spiral, and then it got worse, and I get down and be totally depressed, giving myself self-talk, bad criticism, not smart enough, not good enough, whatever. And I was engaged in, this was like a repetitive process. Once it starts, it's like, oh, here we go, it's gonna go. And I was in my lab doing something, and it required so much work to get this done. And then there was the part where I prepared the experiment, then I'm going to run the experiment. It takes like 2 hours to prepare. So I did it the first time, went to crap, and it's like, oh God, it's got to spend 2 more hours putting it all back together again, weigh out all this stuff, do everything, get it ready. I ruined it the second time. Third time really put me off, because now I've spent over 6 hours of the day repeating an experiment that never worked. And I got real mad at myself, and I went into that, you idiot, you can't do anything right. And it was cool. I was alone in the room, and I hear a voice just right out in front of me somewhere, right out there. And that voice says, don't you have anything better to do than to listen to this? For a moment, I was stunned, like I'm the only one in the room, It was my higher self looking at me, going through this, and saying, don't you have anything better? And I laughed. That's kind of funny. I said, sure, I'd rather go see a movie. And there was a newspaper. I picked it up, found a movie, went to the movie, came out clear, no more depression, gone, okay? The next time I started to go down, I remembered that, don't I have anything better to do? I started to laugh, immediately changed, just went and did something else, stopped. It was a choice. I could continue going back and forth with that, or the choice was, do something else. And I did it. Guess what? After a number of times, not too many, I never got depressed again, because the system made a habit that if I would start in that direction, the habit was go do something else. And that has been now a valid part of my whole life. I carry nothing forward on this anymore. And this was like the freedom, because it said, oh my God, I used to get so depressed hearing how bad I was, talking to myself about how bad I was. And now it's like, it doesn't exist anymore. You are manifesting a life. Are you manifesting a positive life? Well, that's a choice. You want to manifest a negative life? That's a choice. But if you start manifesting, then the cascade, the consequences of that are going to manifest in the process. It's a choice. People don't believe it's a choice because they get so carried away with it without looking at themselves saying, hey, wait, this is a moment of choice. That's why that voice, it woke me up, took me out of this lifetime of that. Because once it said that, it was funny. It was so funny that anytime I started to go down, I started laughing and then stop. And then the point was, it's been years since I've had any anger issues at all. Now it's like, are you kidding me? I'm like this happy camper. Hey, I'm awake. Guess what? I have another day here, another day to experience. I have no idea what's going to happen. I send out some good things and then good things come back. Great. This is a great life. This is not an accident. I know this from a scientific point of view because I'm very clear of my first 40 plus years with those programs that I got from my family, creating the problem that my family has. The very first stoplight where I started all of a sudden listen while I'm waiting for the light was like the first time I tuned in and go, what are you thinking? That was the most important thing. Because then the habit of not going there anymore, starting to realize, this is why am I thinking this negative thing? Turn around, make a positive statement right now, because that negative one is taking you on and just a repetition of this behavior become habitual. So, and habits are great. Why? No effort. I love habits. Why? You don't even have to think about them. They do it automatically, So if you put in these really great habits, you can walk through the day and think anything you want, do anything you want, and your habit, if they're good ones, will just guide you perfectly through here without even being involved with thinking. That's the game. The game is, what is heaven to you? Then program that's your life. And then guess what? The 95% of the day manifesting heaven while you're not even thinking about it.
I am so excited for you to finish the rest of your day strong. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click the link in the description and it'll take you to the full episode of my other show, The School of Greatness. Make sure to come back tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Motivation Show.